Good morning, everyone. How is your day going? I hope it's going well. It's been a while. Last week we did not have a video uploaded. I'm sorry. Stuff happened that prevented me from indulging in this pastime, but I'm going to make up for it. I'm going to make up for it with some extra videos this week. In fact, they're a whole new kind of video. We've done them before, but we're doing gameplay videos. We've talked. Some people mentioned you'd like it on the channel. I definitely would like it. Me and Amos have shot one. Another one kind of coming down the pipeline. The first one is edited, shot, all that good junk. Should be up there tomorrow for you guys. Okay, I appreciate you hanging on, all of you. We are still working on subscriber drive. I think we're +5 right now, so making our way to that 100 that we said in the next 30 days. On the 12th, I believe is when we said. So here's the dealio. We're on our way there. Let's set like a medium goal. Like, what could be something I could do? I don't know. I'll think of something if we hit 20 here in within the end of in 2 weeks. If we hit 20, I'll do something else too in between there as a bump for subscriber drive. 2016. Today though, I was thinking a lot about like what we're doing here, what it means like in general to be like a Christian following Christ, trying to do the right thing and whatnot. I was thinking about being a people pleaser. The desire to please people and to not rock the boat too much, if you know what I mean. And like how we do that. Because there's like no doubt Christ doesn't necessarily talk about us doing that. We've talked about not being politically correct before. What does it mean to be a follower of Christ and to make people happy? I did some searching, just some diving in to scripture, try to find something that fit with this, something that worked, and I kind of came up with this one. It say, first thing is Galatians chapter 1 verse 10. It says, "For am I now seeking the approval of man or of God? Or am I trying to please man? If I were still trying to please man, I would not be a servant of Christ." Colossians 3, chapter 3, verse 23 says, "Whatever you do, work heartily, as for the Lord and not for men." You know, like, here's the thing. It's so, like, as a Christian, we want people to join us. It's like if we were to have a social event, a party, and we want people to come. Now, you see this a lot at churches, especially this time of year, because people are throwing big parties and they're having like block parties, back to school bashes, come get all this stuff, and they blow up toys, and you know where I'm getting at with this. And you know, they do these giant parties, and they do it because they want people to come. They want things to excite them, right? And we want that. It's like if we were trying to throw a party as Christians to get people to come to the party that is Jesus, because there ain't no party like a Jesus party, because a big Jesus party just don't stop, kind of thing. You know, but the thing is, we try to accomplish this, but how do we do that with the fact that it's not like that? How is it we overcome the fact that it's not exactly a people-pleasing thing? Because I know for a fact, sometimes I've had to make decisions in my life that didn't please anybody. Decisions that I felt like I had to do, that the Lord was calling me to do, that sometimes not everybody was happy with. First and foremost, you're never going to make anybody happy, at least not all the time. It doesn't matter if it's your perfect person, the person God made for you, that one person that you just love so much, hi Judah, that you just can't get around. There's still going to be times when you're going to conflict. It's just the way of life. Like if I go into a store, I'm not going to worry about what Joe thinks over here necessarily, and I'm not going to go out of my way to make him unhappy. But in the same sense, I'm not going to always make every person happy. Like I find this on the road, so I get road rage a lot. And so while I'm driving, sometimes I'll be like, "Oh, what was that guy doing? Come on, what are you doing? No, were you looking? Were you paying attention?" And then sometimes I'm the guy who pulls out, I'm like, "Oops, I should not have done that. That was an accident. Did not mean to cut in front of that person like that." You know what I'm saying? We've all been there. Because in that moment when I do it, I see what I was doing. I was like, I see the error in my ways. They didn't see the error in my ways. All they know is I pulled out in front of them. You see what I'm saying? So like, there's that point of not being a people pleaser, because there's never going to be a point in which we can please everybody, because there's always things that we don't know about them and where they're at. So am I seeking to please men or God? Men or God? Human beings or God? You see, we as a people, we're always changing. I mean, that's evident. Now, there's nothing new under the sun, and we can see that pretty prevalently in the lives of people, is that the same stuff that goes on today, why we may have iPads, they didn't have iPads back in the day, and they didn't have Skype and I don't know, who uses Skype anymore, but like Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and Snapchat and all these things. They didn't have those. There were still obstacles that interfered and went between them and life. So there's nothing new under the sun. That the same predicaments that really at the core affect us affect them back then. So we as people, we're constantly changing in the way who we are. We're changing in how we perceive the world. Things happen. Events happen. Things happen in our lives. People pass away. Bad things happen. Good things happen. All these things happen to mold our perspective. So do I please the person who is constantly changing, or do I go to the rock? It's like the old hymn and the old song. It's a little bit different of a take on it, but the wise man built his house on the stones, the foolish man built on the sand. If I go to please man, I'm building on the sand, which is constantly changing. It's not set. It falls away. It fades. The water transitions. It's not something that's set in stone. Whereas stone is unmoving. It's there. It's stable. You see, that's what it's like to follow Christ and God, is that it's a stable thing. For if I'm to please man, then I'm going to be like a ship without an anchor, getting tossed around in the ocean. If I'm to please God, I please God because He is like the North Star. I can find it, I know where to go, and I can get there. You see what I'm saying? And it may take, now no matter how many times I drive around the earth, I mean, granted, the North Star, I guess you'd hit Antarctica or something like that. But I could keep going towards the North Star. I'd be there. I mean, it's something I'm going towards. I could never, it's always going to be up in the sky though. That's like God. It's like I'm seeking to follow God. I'm following Him, going behind Him, going towards Him. I'm never going to necessarily achieve it as long as I'm here on this planet. I'm never going to achieve it here on earth. But I can constantly be going towards my mission, my goal. That's the fundamental thing right there, guys, is that we please man, then we're just in the middle of nothing, with nothing and no hope, no anchor, no paddle, nothing. We're just nothing. But if we follow Christ, then we have hope. And I know that's so simplistic sounding, but it is simplistic. It's not simple to put into practice, though. That's the difference. You see, so much what we talk about is it's simple. I get it. But I'm speaking to myself too. We have to constantly be going towards Christ. If I'm not working towards Him, then I'm not working towards Him at all. It's like I take a sculpture. I want to make a sculpture of Judah's face, right? And so I begin to mold it. It takes me a long time. I'm sitting there working on it. And I begin to make it, and I begin to mold it, and it begins to look so much like Judah. But as I do, I still notice little things about it. And then as Judah, at the different times of the year, different things happen. Her face looks different ways. Maybe you see what I'm saying? Everything constantly changes, just little bits. As we age, we move forward. So I would constantly have to be going back and making. I'm never going to perfect that because I'm doing something that's changing, right? Think of that in kind of the sense of that God is this thing in front of us. And we see God, and we see that goal, and we're trying to make our lives a sculpture of what He is. It's not that it's changing, it's that I'm changing. So I'm trying to get like God, but constantly I'm kind of changing in my own way to get closer and closer. So I'm never going to quite get there. But I can always be working on it, shaving off what's left, pulling in, getting closer to being that picture of Christ. Am I supposed to be a people pleaser? Absolutely not. And if I was, it'd be a miserable life. Because pleasing people don't want to be pleased. God does. And God blesses us. And God's there for us. And He won't turn His voice. His word doesn't come up void like other people do. In closing, guys, there are so many opportunities for us to serve God. So many opportunities for us to cast off where we're at here and move towards Him. But the point is, we have to realize we're not going to make everybody else happy along the way. And sometimes people need to be made unhappy so that they can realize what true happiness is. Because a fleeting passion can bring joy for a moment. The world can possess love and feelings of love and feelings of joy for brief times. And sometimes those times feel so good it's hard for us to get away from them. That's why we see people constantly seeking to fulfill them. But sometimes you have to break that pattern so people realize what true joy is. And it's not always easy, and they're not always going to thank you right away, or you may never hear the thank you. But God does, and God knows it. So stop being a people pleaser. Stop trying to make everybody else feel okay. And do what makes God happy. Do what makes that. And if you focus on that, life makes sense. Cast off all this other stuff. Walk towards Him. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. So if you don't know, subscribe now if you haven't subscribed yet, because we're doing Subscriber-thon 2016. Subscriber drive. Basically, if we get 20 subscribers here in the next week and a half, 2 weeks, I'll do something fun, some weird challenge or something for your enjoyment and my, possible enjoyment. And if we get 100 subscribers for every 100 subscribers, I do something big. But if we get 100 subscribers before the 12th of September, I believe it was, then I will do a jalapeno eating contest where I'll eat as many jalapenos as I can in like 30 seconds to a minute or something like that. I'm really decided the time limit yet. So please subscribe, check out the channel, guys. If you like this, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button. I appreciate you watching. God bless. I'll see you next time. Tune in tomorrow for our new video.